Hi guys, welcome back. This is a part 2 of the Sansui restoration project. If you have missed the part 1, please click here or link in the description. In this video, I'm going to go through a replacement of a melted speaker protection relay and cleaning all the controls. So to give you a bit of a story, when I went to buy this amp, I asked previous owner to do a demo and hear the amplifier. So just to get an idea and see what to expect, right? In fact, he was quite happy, although he did mention this need a service because it's never been serviced in his lifetime. You know, this is almost 50 years now, you know. So let me pause here, right? And let me play you a recording which I made during the demo. So basically, nothing connected apart from the speakers and no other input, right? Let's hear it. Right, yeah, here's distortion and noises, whatnot. By the way, if you feed any input, like a CD, you could hear the music, plus in the background you get this noise faded, but you can still hear it, you know. So he was so convinced, and he believed a good clean of controls or contacts, you know, would do the job. In fact, as soon as you turn tone control back and forth a couple of times, the amp goes to protection mode and it's not coming back unless you power off and wait for a couple of minutes and back on again. Because the amp also very sensitive, a dirty switch or contact can trigger that. Anyway, I'm not expert, but I knew this is more than a cleaning job. You know, could be a leaky transistor, capacitor, maybe something else. So I was in two minds whether I should buy it or leave it. But at the end I thought, I'll accept the challenge and see if I can fix it. So let's find out. Okay, let's start with the speaker relay. It is quite interesting, I'll promise, you'll see. During the demo, I opened the top cover to see inside. However, I did not check or open the bottom cover, so I could not see this coming. I only noticed when I got home and started cleaning the whole thing. Yeah, you see, it is pretty bad. I mean, it's working though, right? Watch carefully here, you'll see it's engaging when you turn on the amplifier, and you can hear the click. So first thing is to get this changed and take it further. Right, so I have two options, I guess. Option 1, take the whole driver amp power supply board, which has millions of cables, cable ties. Option 2 is to take it from the top, which will take a long time because you know, there's not much space to begin with. Sadly, I don't have any fancy desoldering pump like this, which would have been 5 minutes job. So I'm gonna go with option 2 and wish me luck. I have a solder wicks, I have a manual pump. Yeah, certainly will take a long time. To get access to, let's start removing the regulated power supply board. Yeah, much better. I have full access now. I'm adding new solder, by the way. It will be easier to desolder later. This is something I do all the time. It makes much easier with the pump. There you go. Let's take a closer look. Wow, you see, it's melted. Not sure how this is even possible. I mean, to melt that part and fuse together must have been some sort of short. Maybe due to a huge inrush current, I suppose. I don't know, honestly. Maybe. I really looking to hear from you guys. What do you think? Please put your comments below. I love to hear your thoughts on this. Right then, let's put it back. So I clean the surface with anhydrous alcohol before putting the new relay. So the new relay is Omron, like the original. The model number is This one is very common and widely used on restoration project like this. I use the same on my Pioneer SA AU-9900 Mark II. It costs around 10 to 12 pounds. Let's put it back. All done like new. I'll see you shortly. Okay, which one we should use, D5 or F5? Well, it's a long debated subject. There's a mixed views. Some says D5 is safer to use every control and switches, and other people's view is if you use D5 on volume controls like potentiometers, especially the ones made with carbon composite materials, over time it can eat carbon tracks. So long story short, recommendation is to use F5 on potentiometers and D5 on everywhere else, like toggle switches or selector switches, right? Again, I've seen videos, some people tested D5 on different materials and demonstrated that it doesn't affect over time. I always use combination of both D5 and F5. Before this project, I was working on my Pioneer SA AU-9900 Mark II, and I cleaned the volume control with F5s. I don't have any problems since I'm using the amp daily basis. By the way, I will release those videos in the future. Okay, let's begin with the buffer amp board, which is basically the one with the master volume and filter and tone control switch. It's easy to access, doesn't need to take apart, just need to take out the phono board or the equalizer board, and you have full exposure to it. I'm starting with the tone control switch. Remember we talked about how scratchy that was? Basically every time you turn, amps goes to protection mode. So this needs a good clean. So I'm hoping that should do the trick. I'm also trying to cover surrounding areas with tissues to minimize the sprays getting all everywhere. There's no harm if it goes everywhere, but it just gets messy and all the residue with the residue left. So how to do it? I mean, there's no rocket science how to apply, but when you do for the first time, you always ask, is that the right way? Like when I was started. So I do 1 or 2 sprays. Most of the time that's good enough. Sometimes you need more. If the issue is not fixed, then do it again. And most important part, I would say, is to once you spread the oxide, to exercise back and forth a lot of times to ensure to clean it properly. Next up is filter board, another easy one to tackle. But first things first, I always marked cables. You can take pictures or put markings, or both, whatever makes sense for you. I do both, so I know where things need to go back. You have a couple of screws and nuts, and also I need a wrench for the nut. And the board should come off easily. Before I start spraying, I'm going to clean the terminals because they are tarnished. D5 liquid version would have been better choice here, but I don't have it. Just take your time, don't rush things. Remember, this is a hobby, not a race, at least for me. Yeah, look at that. Looks much better after all clean. So I'm going to continue to use F5 for the pods and D5 for the rest of the controls. Same mantra I use for volume control board. a couple of sprays and turn back and forth 30-40 times, right? Yeah, you can feel already it's getting smoother. Well, it wasn't stuck though, but I felt a bit of a tension before cleaning, but now it's much more smoother. So there's also opening from that side. So I'm going to do one more spray and that's it. Right, next up is bass, treble, mid-range boards. Starting taking notes again, you should have the habit, right? And then let's take those connectors out of the way. So the question is now, can we take the boards without removing the panel assembly? I guess that's what is called panel assembly. The plate behind the faceplate. Yes, you can. There's a kind of sequence. Basically, first board to comes out, obviously the filter board, right, and then the volume or the buffer amp circuit, and finally the tone control boards, right. Option number 2, take the whole panel assembly out, right. So however, it's a time consuming job. You need to remove everything. Power switch, headphone jack, nuts, screws, and can get really messy with all hanging parts. Because I'm doing deep clean here, right, so I would like to take as much as possible, so I don't mind doing this, to be honest. You see the problem starting already. Power switch has a different type of screws. I'm marking them, otherwise I wouldn't understand why it doesn't fit in a couple of days later. So once all removed, just pull the plate, but take your time. There's so many moving parts, hanging parts, so just be careful. Right then, let's start the cleaning. By the way, I'm only cleaning tarnished terminals. I have checked the contacts inside, behind that plastic cover. They all looks good, right? Well, the question is whether cleaning and replacing speaker protection relay fix the distortion. Well, not entirely. Cleaning helped get rid of some of the distortion, or ease out, I would say. Definitely fix the tone control issue after cleaning. Remember, the amp was going to protection mode, and now it's gone, right? So which is good news. So troubleshooting continues on the next video, but I'm going to give you a hint. I found the culprit. It's coming from the driver board, so I'm going to fix it on the next video. So please stay tuned. Hope this was useful. As always, please subscribe, hit the like button. Until then, goodbye.